Hey, what's up, everyone? And welcome back to the Quarantine Happy Hour. And this, y'all, is a special edition. This is the City Sports Edition. And I got my man right here in the house tonight. I got my boy, City Rich, up in here. What's up, City?
What's up? What's up, James? How you living, baby?
Hey, man, I'm living, man. How's it up there in the A, brother?
Man, it's a lovely day, lovely weather. Good times. Sports is back. The whole city's on buzz. I'm representing the A. Representing the
I see
Braves. They
that.
playing the Dodgers right now in the National League Championship Series. So, right now we got the lead. So yeah, we loving Atlanta right now.
I know that's right, bro. So we're gonna get this City Sports Edition started off, y'all, with my boy City in the house.
What's up?
Um, First of all, Steve, let's talk about the 800-pound gorilla in the room right now, and it's all about the championship game last night. LA Lakers with the victory over the Miami Heat, and they won the championship, baby.
Yeah, LeBron, that's his fourth title. Everybody focuses on the six that he lost, but hey, you win four. With every franchise you've been with, they brought it home last night. They came out immediately with defensive intensity, and they just basically told Miami it's time to go home, and they was ready to get out of that bubble.
Yeah, man. And that was, as you know, that's my team. I'm a big Laker fan, always have been. And I was happy to see it, but, so many people, of course, the word was out today. All these, LeBron got a lot of haters, and I call them LeBron haters. And, they have a tendency of always comparing LeBron with MJ. Why do you think that is, Steve?
Well, both of them represent greatness. Michael Jordan. I was a fifth grader back in North Carolina, and hanging out with some of my uncle and his friends. They were, juniors and seniors in high school, and all they were talking about was Michael Jordan. That's
Right.
it was no internet back then, no cell phones, no pages, no nothing. But that's all they talked about because they played against us, and so the expectation was great when Jordan went to Carolina,
Yeah.
and the same thing for LeBron. Even though he didn't come, he didn't go to college like Michael Jordan, but he went straight to the league, and they had
Right.
high hopes for him, and
Right.
he's lived up to it. So
Yeah.
two of the greats all time.
Yeah, and that's one of the big things that big issues that people have to say about LeBron. They say that Michael Jordan he's been in the league for 17 years, but Michael Jordan went to college first. So in essence, he played. Listen, um, to me, it would have been nice for LeBron to have went to college and got that preparation. He didn't get it. LeBron went straight from high school right into the NBA, the big leagues, right into the NBA. And he did what he did. He was on three different teams so far, and every team that LeBron has been on, he has bought them championship rings.
Yeah, absolutely. And it started, he went to the finals in his first go round with the Cavs. They ended up
Hmm.
losing to the Spurs,
Yep.
in '07, got swept. And once he went to Miami, teamed up with D Wade, Chris Bosh, Pat Riley, and them down there with the Heat, they won two. They went, back to back to back. And,
Hmm.
once he went back to Cleveland, they won. He had Kyrie with him, and now he's in LA. He got hurt last year. He hurt his groin right on Christmas Day. I remember that game like it was yesterday, man. So
Yeah, I
they were
remember that
playing
too.
Golden State, and
Yeah.
he hurt his groin, and the team was thriving, but
Yeah.
he missed
They
most of the rest of the season.
as a matter of fact, at that time they were number one in the East when that
In
happened.
the West,
Yeah,
in
I'm,
the
I'm
West,
sorry, in
yeah,
the
yeah,
West.
yeah,
Yes, in the
yeah.
West.
They were right up there. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was them and Golden State.
Mm-hmm.
But once he got hurt, they were actually doing well in that game. But they had to get the big fella from New Orleans. The big cat.
And speaking of
Anthony
which,
Davis.
and speaking of which, like you just said, a lot of people have that to say about um, um, uh, that Jordan didn't have a team. And listen, LeBron didn't have a team. His first team, Steve, I think you said it earlier, was in Miami with the Miami Heat. and that was with the big three, right? Chris
Right,
Bosh and
right.
Dwayne Wade. All right.
Mm.
Now, who did he really have other than Kyrie in Cleveland? He
Well,
now,
the second go around with
yeah.
Cleveland, he had Kevin Love, so Kevin Love is a perennial All Star.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Yep.
had a mild version of a big three. That first year he was there with Kevin Love, though, is when Kevin Love got the shoulder injury against Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals. So he missed the series against Golden State, which Golden State took care of him. But he had Kevin Love. He had some guys that fit into what he was doing. Tristan Thompson, J.R. Smith, guys like that, But those two, Kyrie, he can give it to you any night. Kevin Love can give you solid figures. So he had decent teams, in Miami as well as Cleveland.
Now, would you say that he had? Okay, would you say? And I'm not trying to compare him, but once again, when people say things like, you know, Michael Jordan didn't have a team, would you say that Michael Jordan's team, being in, let's name some of them, Steve Kerr, Horace Grant, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Cool Coach. I mean, we can go on and on. Now,
Right.
when you say Mike was playing without a team, even though maybe they weren't as good as they um, I mean, as good as they was before they got with Jordan, and he did bring them up to another level. But the level
Right.
that he brought them up to was pretty much, secondary superstar level.
Right.
Um,
And that's how it goes. When you have a superstar, you have to, cater the talent to their game, so you
mhm.
can't just have, you know, five Michael Jordans on the team, guys who do the same thing he did. You have to have
Right.
specialists,
Yeah.
So you have to have guys that's gonna hit the boards, defend the paint, then you're gonna have to have your shooters, and then you're gonna have to have your ball handlers. So you
Absolutely.
got to have an athletic team, and even though on paper, a lot of teams that win the title don't have the best looking decorated roster, but
Right.
it fits around a superstar because it's only one basketball. People don't understand that for some reason, but hey, when you have like the Lakers won it last night,
Mm-hmm.
you got LeBron and you got Anthony Davis.
Wow.
Back then you had Michael and Scotty. So and cool coach,
Yeah.
he'll light you up some nights,
Yeah.
So guys can hit open shots, you got role players around them. So
Mhm.
you're gonna always get that comparison when you just have, two of the greatest in our era,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
ever do it. Jordan
Definitely.
and LeBron.
Definitely. Definitely. And oh, okay. So let's talk about the Lakers roster right now. All right. So, City, you're the general manager of the LA Lakers. Okay. Cal Kuzma, does he go or does he stay?
Well, with Kuzma, he's a young player. He's still on his rookie contract. Um, I think they took his 5th year option, and so they're gonna keep him. I mean, but if the phone rings and it's the right deal, you got to listen. You got to at least listen. So, but I don't know how much that phone's going to be ringing. I mean, he was decent in the finals and in the playoffs, but seems like he took a step back. So, if the phone rings and you get a nice offer for him with something that can help you right now, then you have to think about it. But if not, he's going to be an up and coming player. He just got to sit in the back seat right now. You got LeBron and you got AD. So, but in the course of a long 82 game regular season, you know, he'll have his time to shine.
I agree. But now, if I was the general manager, now, like I watch every Laker game. I think I missed one. And um, if I was the general manager, I'm the general manager. Okay, Cal goes. The reason why I say that is because of his inconsistencies. Now, in
Mm-hmm.
order for them to continue to, and forgive me for saying this because I do believe that he's going to grow and be a great player. But I think that LA Lakers can do a lot better than Cal Kuzma. He's just too inconsistent in my eyes. If I'm the manager, he's just too inconsistent in my eyes. Last year he did step it up, but think about it. LeBron was out. He was hurt, like you said earlier, and I don't see him. I would keep KCP,
Mm-hmm.
definitely, but Kyle Kuzma has to go. Now, on the flip side of that, Steve, let me ask you about this. Cousins, do he stay or do he go?
You got to give him a chance. Cousins, tore his ACL, in pickup games right before the season. So, he played with AD down in New Orleans, so you can't forget about that. Both of them are from Kentucky. They came up under John Calipari. They didn't play together. AD came right after him, but they played together in New Orleans. They were doing well that year. They were pushing Golden State. When they first started their three titles in 4 years. So Cousins and Davis, if Cousins can come back and be 80% of himself, in the past, hey, you can't go wrong. Give it a
I
shot.
agree.
If anything, maybe he can, do some work early and look good enough to where trade deadline comes around. Somebody might offer him something.
Okay,
So, but got to give him a chance.
next question then. Rondo. Does Rondo go or do Rondo stay?
I think you got to keep a player like Rondo. Rondo.
Definitely.
He's had some injuries here or there. I was actually looking earlier, doing a little research, and I saw where the Lakers picked 28th in the NBA draft this year.
Mm-hmm.
So they were talking about getting a late first round draft choice, who to me would be one of the steals of the draft, and Cassius Winston from Michigan State, point guard, 4-year player.
Yeah.
He's been there, played, came up under Tom Izzo. Imagine him and Rondo. Whatever Rondo can bring. He can tutor him
Oh yeah.
for a year.
Oh yeah.
And save his body some for the postseason, because Rondo did a phenomenal job in the playoffs. Once he got back, the team was totally different because he had
Oh
such a
man.
high basketball IQ.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I
So
mean, whether he was on the court or off the court, his criticism, his coaching off the court, and the advice that he was giving guys. I mean, if you notice, even when he was on the court last night, um, Rondo, Rondo was orchestrating a lot of positive things that happened for us last night. Not only was he scoring, and getting all those assists, he was orchestrating these boys, man. Like, it was just phenomenal. And so, yeah, I agree with you on that too, man. Yeah, Rondo definitely stays. Well, let me ask you this question: who do you think should go, or who do you think will go?
well, you got to think about this. You have the bubble, so you bring in players for the bubble just to fill your roster out. So
Right.
J.R. Smith, Deion Waiters, of course they're probably gonna go. JaVale McGee, him and Dwight Howard do the same thing. So JaVale will be gone. Maybe the Marcus Morris, he may be gone also, because he came on late. So you'll see we'll see what they get in the draft. You got some expiring contracts. I would like to see them renew Dwight for another year, because if they're going to keep that big lineup, and if Boogie Cousins, like you said, if they can get anything out of him, but they'll make some moves to improve this roster, because, like I said, the NBA is going to be a lot better next year. You got a lot of young up and coming
Oh
teams.
yeah.
You got your Denver Nuggets. Utah's going to be back.
Oh
Portland, you
yeah.
with Dame Dollar. And Golden State's going to be back. They got a number 2 overall pick.
And
Steph and Clay are coming
yeah,
back.
yeah,
Draymond, Steve
big,
Kerr is the coach,
big.
so
Oh
they're going to
wow.
be there.
Yeah. And let's not forget them Brooklyn boys, them Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah,
KD's coming back. Kyrie,
yeah,
who I don't know if he was hurt or not, but you can't really blame him. You
yeah,
know what I mean? He can't. I
yeah.
mean, he hasn't done it yet. He hasn't carried a whole team by himself. I think
Mhm.
he needs, um, um, you know, that that other superstar alongside of him to really be a real contender as far as
Mhm.
in next year's series.
And
Um,
they're going to be fine. Brooklyn is going to be strong.
yeah.
They still have Kyrie LeVert. You know,
Oh
they have a
yeah.
lot of young players. They made it to the playoffs this year. So they went
They
down
did.
and got some valuable experience in the bubble. I think they did win one game in the playoffs. I think they beat Toronto in one game, but they're going to be strong because they have a new coach. They just brought in Steve Nash, Hall of Famer,
Yeah. Yeah.
played with Dallas and Phoenix. So, he's a
Mm-hmm.
players coach. Him and Durant worked together in Golden State. He was like a special assistant to the players or whatever. But they're going to make some noise. Hopefully, they can stay healthy. I think, the draft is a month away. Hey, I'm checking the wire daily to see, all the latest buzz and what's going on. And I'm reaching out to some of my contacts as well.
Of course, you are City Rich. And speaking of that, City Rich, um, I need to know some more buzz right about now. Listen, let's talk about the NFL, man. Bring us up to date. Bring the viewers up to date. What's been going on? What's happening? Yesterday for those who missed the games. And of course, there's a game that's going on right now as we speak.
Yeah,
Yo, bring us up to date on the NFL.
yeah,
What happened yesterday? Um,
yeah. But we'll start out, man. I mean, right now the Chargers are up on New Orleans 23 with 4 minutes and 25 seconds left in the first half. So we're up to date as far as that's concerned. The other Monday night game was canceled with the Broncos and the Patriots. That's going to be played on Sunday. But yesterday, we had an exciting day of action. Starting right down here in Atlanta, the Falcons, they lost.
yeah,
They lost to Carolina 23-16. That caused the head coach Dan Quinn and the general manager Dimitrov to get fired. So we saw it coming. Carolina's
right.
won three in a row.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
They're
buzz,
looking
yeah,
good. New head coach.
yeah. We looking
The
good down
Falcons
here
are
in
0
NC.
5.
We
Yeah,
looking good
yes,
down
sir,
here in
North
NC.
Carolina. So they're 0-5,
Right.
and on a lesser note, it was sad to see Dak Prescott, have a
Oh man.
compound fracture of his ankle against the New York Giants yesterday.
Yeah, that
But the
that was a tough
Cowboys
one.
were able to pull it out, with Andy Dalton. Dak has a 4 to 6 month recovery period. And so he'll be back. He'll be back next year stronger than ever. Hopefully, we're praying for him. Cowboys Nation. Hey,
Definitely, definitely
got
out.
to keep on.
Definitely, sympathy goes out to the not only to Dak but the Cowboy fans. I know they are feeling the pain. So, Steve, let me ask you another question. Um, does he get paid? Do you think he's going to come back? Do you think they're going to franchise him? What do you think?
I think right now, it, the best thing to do next year would be to try to give him another franchise tender. But this year, that franchise tender was 31 million. Next year is 37 million. So a lot of that's going to depend on his recovery process, his rehab. He'll be a year older. He's still a young quarterback. He's about 28. You have Andy Dalton. They got him, the Red Rifle. Out of Texas Tech. Texas TCU. Hey, he was with
Right.
Cincinnati. They made the playoffs a few years. He can get the job done. He's a little older, but he's serviceable. So on this hand, if they win a division, win a game or two in the playoffs, and look decent with him, hey, it's going to be tough for them to bring Dak back on a long term contract. So they might give him 1 year deal. But eventually this is a tough injury. Dak can come back from it, but I think they'll probably end up resigning him to a 1 year franchise tender next year.
I hope so. Get well soon, Dak. Man, we're definitely keeping you in our prayers. Um, so, what else is up in the NFL city?
Oh yeah, yeah. We can run down the scores. We got a game tomorrow night. You got Buffalo and Tennessee tomorrow night.
Oh, that's
You
right.
know, yeah, that's gonna be a great game. I think both of those teams are undefeated. Tennessee's been on a little hiatus. They had a big COVID outbreak. So they haven't been able to play the last couple of weeks. Thursday night's action, we had the Bears to knock off Tampa. 20-19.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh won yesterday. Coach Mike Tomlin.
We got a
They,
lot of Pittsburgh fans around here.
uh, they beat Philly. They beat Philly
Yeah.
38-29. Like I said, the Panthers did pull out the victory against the Falcons. Baltimore looked good. They beat Cincinnati 27-3. Houston and Jacksonville, Bill O'Brien, they fired him last week after the 0-4 start. They brought in my man Romeo Cornell. He's one of Bill Belichick's disciples. He came in, got the win 30-14 over Jacksonville. Deshaun Watson from Clemson, ACC, looked good. Miami got a nice upset yesterday, one of my upset picks.
Yeah.
They beat San Francisco 43-17. My DC Skins, Washington football team, they bowed out. They lost to the Rams, 30-10.
Yeah.
It was raining, pouring down. I think some of Hurricane Delta hit us up.
Hey,
So,
you mean our team? Because I'm a
right.
die-hard fans. They gonna always be,
Right.
with all respect, they gonna always still be the Skins in my heart because,
Oh, yeah.
all my life, that's all I ever remember was the Skins. You know what I'm saying? But hey, it's a football team. It's the Washington football team now, and
Yeah.
and
Washington
respectfully
football
so,
team.
respectfully so,
Right.
still my
Right.
Skins here.
Oh yeah,
Right
yeah.
here.
And one of the big, I would say the biggest upset of the day had to come down there in Kansas City. The Raiders came in and beat the Chiefs. Defending Super Bowl champs,
Yeah.
40-32. And if you remember, a couple of weeks ago when the rookie Justin Herbert for the Chargers, who are right now beating the Saints 20-3, he came in and they were playing Kansas City and they were winning most of the games. So the AFC West, what's happening is those teams are building their teams to be able to beat the Chiefs. So the Raiders beat them, yesterday, their first loss of the year. And San Diego should have beat them. I think they came back in the last couple minutes and kicked like a 56-yard field goal to win. Those teams in the AFC was, I don't know about Denver, but San Diego was maybe could have won that game, and the Raiders beat them. Division rival. So it's
Right.
always some different when you play a division rival. So they got their first loss.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about some ACC.
Yeah.
You're in Carolina. I mean,
Oh, for
I,
sure.
I'm on the ACC network all the time. Hey, I love it. So with the ACC, this weekend I think we got about 4 teams ranked in the top 25. It'll probably be more than that after what happened over the weekend. So we're going to start it out.
Oh, for
We're
sure.
going to start it out with our the number 1 team in the nation. The Clemson Tigers. Hey, they played Miami. Miami was ranked number 7. Saturday night, 42-17, Clemson beat Miami. So the U is
Yeah.
back. They're number 7 in the nation. They got a young quarterback from Houston, last name King, De'Aaron King. So he's from the Florida area, so he's looking good. But you play the number 1 team in the nation on the road, it's going to be tough to win. Our Carolina Tar Heels, we Tar Heels for life.
Oh, for sure.
56, Virginia Tech 45. So it was a good game,
Yeah.
Up in Carolina, they're allowing a few fans, we got we got a nice team this year. Mac Brown is back. The quarterback could probably be a Heisman candidate if he keep up the way he's going. And also NC State, they won, back-to-back weeks. They beat Virginia 38-21 on the road up there in Charlottesville. So, big ups to NC State. Now Duke went up to Syracuse. They got their first win of the year. They beat the Orange 38-24. So
There's
all the teams and Wake Forest didn't play, so that's one of our teams in the state. But all the Carolina teams, they played to win this weekend. So it was a lot of action.
a
We'll
lot of
be
Duke,
watching for
Duke
the
fans
who
around
updates
here
tomorrow.
too. A lot of,
Now they like Duke basketball. Duke football. They might pay attention a little bit if Duke is winning, but Duke fans are Duke basketball fans.
That's what it is. They Duke
Yes, sir.
basketball fans.
Yeah.
I know that's right. Now, Steve, let's also talk a little bit about the MLB right now. That's going on. It's going on strong. Your boys right now, you representing them very well.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the MLB.
Yeah, the Braves right now we're winning. It's game one. They're out there and they're not playing in Los Angeles. See, they had bubbles for the playoffs
Right.
now for the baseball MLB playoffs. So they're in Arlington, Texas, the home of the Texas Rangers. So you got the Braves and the Dodgers is 1-0, the middle of the fourth inning. And earlier today, they're out there at Petco Field in San Diego. You got the Houston Astros playing the Tampa Bay Rays. The Rays pulled that one out 4-2. So now they had a game yesterday too, game one, and the Rays ended up winning that one 2-1. So pitching duels, late in the playoffs. So the Rays are up 2-0. Now they're not doing any traveling. They're playing the whole thing in these stadiums like bubble like atmosphere because it's too much traveling. Teams are
Yeah,
far
yeah,
apart.
yeah.
So Rays are up, and then they'll have game three tomorrow. They're not taking any days off. They just out there playing, man. So hey, MLB, and then also I meant to mention about the French Open on the men's side. You had Rafael Nadal.
Yeah.
He got his 20th major. So he tied Roger Federer for the most all time. He beat Novak Djokovic in straight sets. So he won the French Open. On the ladies side, let's see. On the ladies side, we had none of the big names played in this tournament. So we had a 19-year-old to win that. So that was pretty exciting,
Big
to see
ups.
her win it. If I can pull up her name, yeah. So she was 19. Serena dropped out early. She got hurt. So Serena got hurt. Naomi Osaka, she didn't play. So two of the big names out because Serena has an Achilles injury,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it was in France. So I think Osaka just won the U.S. Open. But her name is Iga Swiatek. She won, so she's 19-year-old. She's from Poland. She's the first Polish young lady to win major on the female side. So
Yeah.
we caught up, baby.
And we're wishing Serena a speedy recovery as well. One thing, Steve, you mentioned earlier, you was talking about it earlier, the Seattle with our boy, Jared Reed. You
Yeah,
mentioned that
Darren
earlier.
Reed.
Yeah,
Yeah. Last night, Sunday night football, Seattle versus Minnesota. That was one of the best games. I mean, I literally went out on the balcony. I was grilling. I went on the balcony, finished up everything, cleaned up my grill. It was like 13 nothing at halftime. When we came back in, the score was 21-13.
just
It
like
was
that.
14 nothing Minnesota winning. We came back in. It was like 7 minutes left in the third quarter. 21-13 Seattle. So the game went back and forth. Chris Collinsworth and the NBC crew, they was giving my man Jaron Reed, one of our classmates,
That's right.
Anjanette Langston Reed,
Big
her
ups,
son,
fam.
yeah,
Yeah,
he had a phenomenal game. They came back, Russell Wilson, from NC State, Wisconsin,
that's right. Yeah,
he
yeah, yeah.
came, brought them back. He brought them all the way back, and they ended up winning that game with a few seconds left. He hit DK Metcalf with a touchdown pass. So, you know, shout out to Jaron Reed, the Seattle Seahawks, my classmate and Jeanette. Hey,
Big ups,
they
Aunt
hey, they
Jeanette.
they're undefeated. They're
Yeah,
undefeated. They are undefeated. And Jay Reed,
yeah,
he's doing a great job out there. We're
yeah.
proud of him. So
Big ups.
he's
Very
doing his
proud of
thing.
him. Now,
Yes, sir.
and everyone, just so you will know, tonight is our first edition of the City Sports Edition with my
Yes,
boy right
sir.
here, City Rich, in the house.
Yes, sir. All
But
day.
for future reference, just so you will know, when we do this and we go out here and we go live, we're going to have a live hotline for you to call in. So if you have any questions for City Rich in the City Sports Edition when we're on the Quarantine Happy Hour, listen, you're going to be able to call in live, talk about it, something you want to talk about your team, what you didn't agree with, because we're going to talk about some of everybody. I mean, and some of everybody, some of everything. If there's something you want to add to it, if it's something you want to debate with us about, give us a call. The number will be up here. Not tonight though. Like I said, this is our first edition of the Quarantine Happy Hour City Sports Edition. All right.
All right, no doubt.
The first, but not the last. And you know what I mean? We don't keep this thing going. And City, I really appreciate you dropping in, bro. I appreciate you dropping in. All right.
No, my pleasure. My pleasure. Thanks for having me, baby.
Yeah, man, for sure. And until next time, y'all, we gonna chime out, City.
Yep. Hey, we'll see y'all next time. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, that's what's up, y'all. And we'll see you next time. And until then, peace.